Hi. So last time we talked about innovation and ideation techniques, so how to come up with an idea. But usually we start with understanding who we want to sell to, and that's customer research. That's what I'm going to be talking about in these videos. So just a care point, as usual, there's much more to this topic than I can convey here. So I always recommend doing your own research and speaking to an expert one-to-one. So the most basic level of customer research is who you want to sell to. This data is often available from internal data collected at the point of sale when you register for a product or you get an after purchase survey. And this type of data can be whether the customer is internal to your company or external, whether it's B2B, to selling to a business, B2C, selling to a customer, or B2G, selling to a government. Sales channel, and then demographics. So demographics is your age, your gender, your family status, your location, your income, these sorts of things. So this data is super useful, and like I said, it's usually free and available, and this is your starting point, but then you need a lot more data to really understand your customer and your market. So there's two main types of research you do after this. One is quantitative data, or quant. This relates to the size of something. It's numerical. You use statistics to analyze the output of this data. And the one good point is it gives you large sample sizes quite easily. So that allows you to have confidence you're assessing most of the market or a cross-section of the market. Qualitative data, or qual, is relating to the quality of something. So this is really the actual voice, the words of the customer verbatim, but it relies on you interpreting what the customer is saying. So there's a skill involved in this. You need both. If you just use one, there's a risk, but most of the time you want to use both. So the basic technique for either sort of questioning is based on what's called Socratic method. It's not Socratic method, that's actually something different, but it's kind of related. So this is the idea that first of all, that you don't know anything. So you always want to be asking questions, and that one question should lead to another question. So keep asking until really you run out of questions. And of course, usually the point we want to get to is, do you like what I'm proposing, my idea or my product? But if you jump straight to that, all you get is the yes or no binary feedback, which doesn't tell you very much. What you want to do is you want to start as high level as possible. So who are you? What do you do every day in your life? Nothing related to the product yet. What do you like and dislike? Again, related to the life. What drives you? What are your beliefs? What are your values? Then you start getting into how they use the product or service you're proposing. So what are the best or worst examples of this type of product or service, and why? Then eventually you get down to really, do you like here's what I'm proposing, do you like it? And that's what usually we're aiming for. Another important point is that just using the data, whether it's usually quantitative data, without any context can be a bit dangerous. So if I have a single point, I can draw any line I want through that single point. If I have a few points, I still have some choices of which lines I can draw through that. Even if I have lots of points, I still have a lot of choices of which lines I can fit through that. And if I choose a different variable to graph against, I can give you a completely different conclusion. So with just the data, you can use the data to fit any conclusion. So you always should be a little bit suspicious of data that's presented out of context. What you need is that deeper understanding to put it in context and be able to understand the why behind. Also, one thing that's really important is a change in variables. So if you look at one data point, that can tell you something. If you look at two data points, it can tell you how something is different from something else. So that can give you customer clusters or other meaningful insights. Also, if you take one survey and you run that survey at regular intervals, but you don't change the survey, then you can understand the change in time of your customer. So that's quite interesting as well. The difference in change between things is often more interesting than the thing itself. So that's an introduction. I hope you enjoyed that. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about different types of survey. Thank you.